What's up guys, my name is Ollie Smith, welcome into the attic. It's a little bit of a mismatch going on behind me, but we're working with it. I'm so excited to start these YouTube videos. It's going to be about everything to do with Chelsea FC you could think of. We'll be talking about the game, we'll be talking about tactics, formations, different players. It's all going to be up here. So right now, even though it's the first one, and I'm sure you're going to love all of the videos. No, I'm not sure, but I hope you'll love all of the videos that are coming in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Let's go on a journey together. Let's have some fun and watch a lot of football. So we got the first game of the season against Brighton today, and Frank Lampard comes out with a 4-2-3-1 formation. It was something that we thought he would probably use now that he had Kai Havertz come in and Werner as well. But what's interesting about it is, of course, that Werner has most recently been playing as a left winger when he was still at Leipzig, and Bayer Leverkusen had Havertz playing as a striker. So it was a little bit of a dynamic change. Of course, they have played across the front of the attacking formations in all of the teams they've been in. But what we did love to see was Ruben Loftus-Cheek getting that first game under his belt, that start. He was such a great player when we had him playing with Maurizio Sarri, and that really awful Achilles injury robbed him effectively of all of last season. He got the start, and of course Mason Mount, Lampard's trusted midfielder, was in the team. What was also an interesting call, we didn't see Rudiger, who has probably been one of the better central defenders of the Chelsea bunch in the last couple seasons. He was only on the bench there. He actually has looked a little bit shaky in the games he's been involved in, at least since the restart, and that kind of led to a little bit of uncertainty, but Zuma and Christensen both did a very good job in the back. Kepa, always in the headlines. He got the start, and we'll get into it, but straight from the go, Brighton were into the game. It was incredible, and actually it was a former Chelsea player, Tariq Lamptey, who was really the star of the show. Absolutely the pick of players for Brighton, and indeed played a lot better than a number of Chelsea players. In fact, he was vibrant throughout. He actually caused a lot of problems for Alonso, and so we can see that really Alonso is keeping that spot warm for Ben Chilwell when he gets back, because quite frankly, Alonso just isn't cutting it at this moment. He had this game to show that he might still be able to perform at a high level. It doesn't look like he can. He got bailed out a number of times by Zuma and Christensen, and actually got lucky a couple times that Brighton weren't able to deliver that final killer blow, because his flank was getting run through all game long. It was insane to watch Alonso, a player who's contributed so much, but somewhere it's gone. It's just, who knows what's happened to him. It's a little bit weird now because we have Ben Chilwell there, and he's certainly better than Emerson. It just remains to be seen how this team is really going to play until they're at full strength across the back, and that of course means Ben Chilwell's coming in. Now let's talk about the new faces, the obvious two new people we're talking about, Timo Werner and Kai Havertz, and we'll start with the good, and that was Timo Werner. His speed is lethal. Unbelievable asset to add to this Chelsea team that's already had a number of pacey players in Pulisic, and Mount is no slouch. Timo Werner's speed is a game changer up front for the Blues. Watching Timo Werner run at those Brighton defenders, it's going to be tough for him not to score goals. There were a number of instances where he probably should have been given the ball a little earlier, and that's actually what Chelsea fans are really going to be looking for, is how well is this team going to gel together. And one of the things that was evident throughout was they just need to trust Werner. He has the speed, he has the ability, but he needs to get that ball into his feet quickly. There was a time in the first half where Werner won the ball, played it forward to Loftus-Cheek, and it was basically a 2-on-1, and you could see Loftus-Cheek looking around, but he wasn't sure how to get that ball across to Werner, and he should have just played it in. He tried to get a little tricky, he tried to play it through the defender's legs. He probably took a touch too many, but what they will get, and these Chelsea players will know as they play with Werner even more and more, that all you really have to do is, give him that extra step. If you're going to take that ball, pause and throw it across to him, because he thrives on having the ball at his feet, running and making that space for himself. His pace did it, and actually it was his pace that helped lead to that first Chelsea goal and the penalty, even though it was a bit of a gift from Brighton. Now, when it comes to penalties, we've relied on Eden Hazard for years, and before then it was Super Frankie Lampard. But oh my god, does Jorginho ever miss? The man's got a 100% record, and for good reason. He has been absolutely deadly from the spot. Fantastic play from the Italian, who is actually secretly, and give it a second here, he's secretly becoming indisposable to Frank Lampard's team. You can see Lampard really wanting to use him throughout if he can. He only came off with looked like a little niggle in the injury towards the very end of the game, but Jorginho is becoming a real statement for this Chelsea team. It was a slightly different story for Kai Havertz, and quite frankly, the kid just looks incredibly short of match fitness. He was moving around the pitch. He glides, to be fair, he glides through that pitch, and it's fantastic to watch because he will spring up out of nowhere, but he just looked short of match fitness. And it's fair enough, he hasn't played a lot, he's barely trained with the team, he's only been there for about a week, but he looked like just a little lackadaisical in his passing. I'm sure if you saw the game, you would have seen it, and if not, check Instagram because you'll see he tried to string a pass out, complete miscue, and actually it was that pass that led to the first Brighton goal. You shuffle it forward a little bit, but he looks like he will be a great player, but he just needs the game time, and I think Frank knew that because he tried to play him longer than he probably should have. He probably should have cut him off around the 70th minute, maybe a little earlier. He ended up staying on longer before Callum Hudson-Odoi came on. Kai is probably going to be a fantastic, well, I should say probably, he will be a fantastic player because we know what we've seen in him. That's why the club spent the money to bring him in. He just needs a little bit of game time. There is not going to be a Chelsea game this year that doesn't mention Kepa Arrizabalaga as a weakness in this team. You've heard pundits and former players saying it all transfer window that Kepa needs to be replaced if the Blues really want to challenge for major honours, maybe silverware at some stage at the end of the season. And Kepa didn't help himself in this game. The Brighton goal was a nothing, like it was a nothing really shot from the outside of the box. Look, it was kind of hard. It bounced just in front of the keeper. It was swerving. It was a hard angle to see because he had both Zuma and Kante in front of him. But you just got to do better than that. The fact of the matter is, Willy Caballero is not better than Kepa Arrizabalaga. He just isn't. He can't be trusted to play the full 90 minutes. Cup games, for sure, Caballero can come in and do a job, or if Kepa's injured. But frankly, you could think that Lampard is going to watch that game and strengthen the pursuit of the Chelsea board, probably towards Mendy at Rennes or somewhere else. They know they need a new goalkeeper, and Kepa could have made a big statement today. Unfortunately, the good things that he did and the really good save he made to start his first save of the game with a big powerful hand, a parry away, is not going to be remembered because of the one mistake. But as a goalkeeper for a major club, it doesn't matter about the one or two saves you make, it is about those mistakes. And once again, Kepa will feel the heat of this. It's not going to be pretty for the Spaniard, and it's going to be tough to say how much longer that number 1 jersey is his, especially if someone like Mendy comes in. Now, there are of course positives to come out of this game. Not only the big 3 points, a massive win to start the season. 3-1 is a little bit of a flattering scoreline for the Blues. They were definitely outplayed in parts by a Brighton team that shouldn't be outplaying them in the way they did and giving Brighton the freedom to pass the ball around. It didn't look that good at times for the Blues, but they got the goals they needed. They got the 3 points, and that is all that matters. In the Premier League, where Liverpool and Man City have been playing the way they have in recent seasons, you cannot afford to drop points. Chelsea didn't do that today, picked up all 3. They scored, which is another thing the Blues have been nervous about, and actually they got a lot of goals and chances from players that don't normally create them, which was good. And can we talk about that Reece James rocket? Out of nowhere, Chelsea, right after the Brighton goal, looked flat. And the kid comes in and smashes one into that top corner. Honestly, a contender for goal of the season. And yes, that's saying that with only about 8 games into the season. But oh my goodness, the kid has got a rocket of a right foot. A fantastic goal. I was shocked. I think I probably scared the neighbours when the goal came through because I screamed so loudly. It was insane. He has been fantastic in the games that he has played. He was good at the back today. He made his runs. Reece James, hats off. But player of the game has got to be Kurt Zouma. Chelsea have been struggling in the central back department as of late. That's why Thiago Silva has been brought in. There are a lot of question marks around Zouma and Christensen, and actually both had a really good game because they did what they are supposed to do, and that's defend. But Kurt Zouma chipped in with a goal. He was assured in his defence with Christensen. He kept play tight. He got the blocks in when he needed to. He had a great game by and large in a Chelsea team that looked a little flat at times and quite disjointed. And of course, when you chip in a goal, no matter how sketchy or deflected in, it still counts. A great game from the Frenchman, and here we are hoping that he's going to replicate that form that we saw back in early 2014, 2015 with that Mourinho side where he was at the top of his game. A shout out does have to go to Timo Werner. He was great today. His running, he was tireless. His work rate was phenomenal. There was a part in the first half where he was bearing down on goal, and 2 or 3 minutes later he made a sliding tackle interception in front of the Chelsea box and was back up on his feet and moving. That's the kind of desire and effort Frank Lampard is going to need from his team. It's going to be a massive asset to the team when the likes of Christian Pulisic and Hakim Ziyech come back in. They will be phenomenal, and it's going to give Lampard a lot of headaches for who is going to play across that front attacking trident. Of course, Mount was a little bit shaky today, and Lampard loves him, so you'll expect that it's going to be tough to see where Ziyech and Pulisic fit in, but it's a lot of attacking talent. Lampard is lucky to have that decision to make. We'll have to see what's going to be happening next week with a massive, massive game against Liverpool, but it's time to be optimistic. It's going to be a really big game. It's an early test for this Chelsea team. Undoubtedly, the attacking formation can click in and do a good job against Liverpool's defence, which looked very shaky against Leeds. But Liverpool's front three are going to cause problems, especially when Ben Chilwell still isn't in the starting lineup, as Alonso looked so shaky today. Pulisic coming back in as soon as possible is just going to be that little bit of impetus, that little bit of drive that Chelsea have needed when they looked bits at times flat. That was tough. Callum Hudson-Odoi didn't really provide that spark, and Ross Barkley is the eternal Ross Barkley, where he just kind of did his job as Ross Barkley normally does. It's just kind of what Ross Barkley is these days. Anyway, it's time to be optimistic for the Blues. It's going to be a good season. It looks promising, and they, even when they don't play well, they're able to grind out those results. That's a massive component of the Premier League these years. It's a good time to be a Chelsea fan. It's a good time to have Timo Werner starting up top and bring on Liverpool next week. Thanks for watching, guys.